Hello guys, welcome to my first video tutorial on HTML5, and in this video I'm going to give you just a little introduction to the course or to the chapter. And before you jump into HTML5, make sure you've learned XHTML, CSS and JavaScript, okay? Because HTML5 is a mix of all those languages, and we will use a lot of those a lot of the code which is in JavaScript, XHTML and CSS, and if you don't have a clue about those languages, it's going to be a little hard for you, okay? So please go to the chapters and learn XHTML, CSS and JavaScript first, okay? But I'm pretty sure that most of you guys already learned those chapters and you feel comfortable with those languages. So let's jump straight away to HTML5. HTML5, you can think of HTML5 as a mix of those three languages, XHTML, CSS, and JavaScript. Okay, to create better effects on your web page and make your web page a little bit faster and a little bit more dynamic than it used to be. So at the end of the chapter, I will create a HTML5 based web page, okay, fully functional with a lot of functionalities based on HTML5 technology, okay. We will use also Notepad++ as we did throughout the rest of the course in the other chapters, and I'm gonna also recommend you to use the browser Google Chrome, because Google Chrome is up to date with all the updates to use and support HTML5. If you use Internet Explorer, you probably have some issues and some problems with some of the functionalities we will create and use in the web page, okay? So I advise you to use Google Chrome. I'm going to use Google Chrome myself throughout the chapter, and that's basically it. Hope you guys are ready for this, and I'm sure you are, and see you guys on the next video. In the next video we'll start doing some HTML5 code. Okay, see you guys later. Bye. Hello guys, welcome to my second video tutorial on HTML5, and in this video we'll start doing some HTML5 code and create our first HTML5 web page. So remember when in XHTML we had to put the declaration in the top. It was a very long line of code, and we always had to put that in every single web page. Now HTML5 simplifies that, and the only thing we have to type at the top of the page is doc type, I mean exclamation, and doc type and HTML. That's it. Simple as that, okay? So you don't have to copy paste anymore that declaration line of code, okay, with all that information. You just have to put this doc type, HTML. Simple as that, okay? The next thing you should put is HTML, the HTML tag, lang attribute, which stands for language, and here we are using English, so we type EN, okay, for English, okay. The next thing is head, so we close the head tags. I'm gonna close down here the HTML tag. Now between the head tags, let's type we have to type a meta tag, and char set equals, char set is another attribute, and I don't like the color of this. This is, I didn't save the file yet, so it's all in black. So let me just save this, and remember you have to save the file as it was, as we did with XHTML. So HTML5, we just have to save this as .html. So I'm going to save this as test.html. You can save it whatever you want. Save it, and there it is. Okay. So now we have the attribute, the tags in blue, and the attributes in red. So attribute language, attribute char set. The attribute char set or character set is for English is UTF-8. This is the code for English characterization in a browser. If we were working with let's say Spanish, we will use another char set. Okay, but for now this will work for English. Okay. Now the next thing is title. Let's create a title, and let's type welcome to my web page, and let's close title. And now let's type link rel, which stands for link relation to style sheet, which is going to be the CSS file. Okay, so we are linking this page to a future CSS file that we will create. So let's type here, we didn't create yet this file, but we will create in the next video lecture. And that's it. We have created the link to the style sheet, we have created a title, and we have created a meta tag with character set UTF-8 for, this is for English. Okay, so this is all we need for now, and after the head, the closing head tag, we'll create the body section, the famous body section. Of course, we will need that, and close body. Okay, so we are now ready to put and create some content in the body. Let's save this again. Let's just run this and see if all is working okay. Let's launch this in Chrome. Just a second, here it is. And sorry, let me run this in Chrome, and here it is. Okay, as you can see, we have the title here, welcome to my web page. So everything is working fine, but we don't have nothing in the body section, so nothing appears as a content in the web page. We only have the title. So let's work on that and type something in the body. Now we used to have divs for the different sections in the body in our web page in XHTML, but in HTML5 we have a predefined tags for the different parts or sections of our web page. So the first one I'm going to talk about is the header. Okay, so to create a header, we just have to type header and close header. Okay, so this is going to be everything between these tags. We will create or type here anything or everything we want in to appear in our header section. So let me type, this is my header section. Okay, perfect. The next tags that I want to talk about is the nav. So you know, when we have the navigational menu like this one here, and we want to choose about page, the about page, the different sections of our web page, we call this the navigational bar, or as we do it in HTML5, we use the nav tags. Okay, so every navigational bar is going to be in between the tags nav. Okay, here. And as you know, as we learned in XHTML, sorry, to create the different links for the different sections of our web page, the about, the home section, the news section, whatever you want to put in your web page, we need links. Now, to create those links, we have to type an ordered list here, and then we have to type, I'm sure you guys remember this from XHTML, we have to type li, let's create 3 of those, li and close li. So the different section is going to be home, the about, and the contact page. Okay, perfect. Now let me save this, and the next one is gonna be the, let me see, the section tag. It's gonna be the main part of your web page, or the center part. Let's say you have let me open it here. Let me open here a new web page. Let's say we have, let's go to WT Schools. Okay, so here we have sort of 4 parts. We have, or 5 parts in this web page. We have here, we have the header. Here in the middle we have the section. Okay, this is going to be the main part of your web page, the section. Okay, and then we have the a navigation or a sidebar here with all these links, and here as well another sidebar, and at the top, at the bottom, we have the footer. Okay, so I'm going to create in the code, let's create the section, which is this here in the middle, is whatever the main part of your web page, whatever is going to be in the middle of the web page. And this navigation here, okay, or this sidebar here with all these links, we call this a side. So for now, let's leave the section, or let's type here, this is my main section, and let's create the sidebar tags, which is called a side. Okay, a side, and here we can type this is my news section. Let's type a side section. Okay, and it's the last one is the footer. So we have the footer, and here we can type this is my footer section, normally where we put the copyright and all that stuff. Now that's basically it. We now have all the sections with the predefined tags of HTML5 to create our simple web page. Now let's run this and see how this is presented. Let's type here. Okay, here it is. Now we have, this is my header section, then we have all these li attributes, or these lists, and we have the main section, the aside section, and the footer. The problem now is that we will need CSS to style all these sections and put them all where they should be, okay? In the middle, in the right or the left, the top and the bottom, and style some colors or some change a little bit the font, and that's what we will do in the next video. Okay, so see you guys in the next video, and if you have any questions, just post your questions down on the comments section. Okay, see you guys, bye. Hello guys, welcome to my third video tutorial on HTML5, and in this video we will proceed with the page we left and the code we left on the last video. So we will start putting some things together, or some things for the section here. And the first thing I want to talk about is, let's leave, this is my section. We can type this between H1 tags. Oops, H1. And down here, let's use we will use a new tag called article. And down here, let's close this article. And article is a little section that we can use for, as the word says, an article or whatever we want to put in there. It's like a little section that we will use in the main section. Okay, so inside article or between the article tags, we can use headers or the header section as we normally use in the whole HTML file. But this header is related only to the article, okay, to the section article. Now, we can also use the footer here. So you can think of it as a tiny web page aside of the main web page. Here, close footer. Now, between header, what we can use is the title. We can use the title for this article. So let's type here H1 and type latest news or something like that. And here close H1, and let's also type H2 and close H2. And here we can type let's say Bill Gates returns to Microsoft or something like that. Now down here after the H2, we can type here footer and close. Whoops, sorry, we already had footer there. So in here, what we're going to do now is around the H1 and H2, we had to type a new tag called the H group. Okay, what H group does is recognize H1 and H2 as being related to the same news, okay, or the same section. So here, type close H group. Okay, let's indent this. Okay, and down here, let's type something like, for example, after the closing header, let's type here something like Bill is back to run Microsoft today, something like that. And inside a footer, we can type something like journalist Michael Michael Stevenson or something like that. I don't know. Michael Myers. Okay, so basically I think this is it for the article, and let's try and see how this is going. Of course we will need CSS to put this and style this a little bit better, but let me just check this. Probably it's a little bit messy now. Check, run, just a second. Okay, let me run this in Chrome. Okay, here it is. Yeah, okay, this is all messy, but here it is. Latest news: Bill Gates returns to Microsoft. Bill is back to run. Journalist Mike Myers. Okay, we will have to style this. Okay, another thing you can do is I can tell you that instead of one, we have now here one article, okay, but you can type and create as many articles as you want, okay, in the section. So you can grab this and copy it, then paste it, and this would be another article, okay. Let me just delete this and leave and type here Michael Myers. Save this. Let me check this in Chrome. Launch in Chrome. Okay, so here you have latest news. This is the first article, okay, and this is the second article. Now I know, guys, that this seems a lot of pretty confusing right now. We will need CSS. We'll start doing CSS in the next video lecture, and all these. I promise you that all these tags. A side, the section, the article tag, the nav tag. You'll see how we will use this and how easy it's going to be to style these tags, and how and why these tags were created for HTML5. You'll see how easy we will be able to create and style these tags, and how more amazing things we will be able to create with these tags. Okay, guys, so see you guys in the next video. We'll start doing some CSS in the next video, and some comments that or questions you might have, just post them in the comments below. Okay, see ya. Hello guys, welcome to my fourth video tutorial on HTML5, and we will proceed with the code that we left on the last video about the new tags or the new elements that HTML5 has, and that we used. As you can see here, it was the section, the nav. These are all predefined tags or predefined elements on HTML5. Now I'm gonna style this this page, this HTML5 page with CSS, so we can have a little bit more presentable page, because if you run this in Chrome, you'll see that this is all very confusing. So another thing I want to recommend you guys is, if you want to know more about other elements, or you want to see a list of all the new elements or tags in the HTML5, you can go to W3 Schools, which is a very good resource for you to study, and type HTML5 and click it. In here you have all about HTML5, all the new things HTML5 introduced, and you have the new elements here, and if you click it, here you have all the complete list of all the new elements that you can see, or you can use, sorry, in HTML5. As you can see here, article that we used. We also used the H group, the header, the footer, the nav. Okay, but you have a bunch more that you can use, and so you can be aware of all the new elements. So let's go back and try to style this a little bit with CSS and put it more presentable to the browser. So let's open Notepad. And the first thing I want to do is change some things here in the HTML file. The first thing I want to do is, just right after the body, I'm going to create a wrapper all around the tags that we've created, such as header, the nav, the section. Okay, so let me just type div id equals and wrapper. Okay, so we have to close it down here just before the body. Let me close this. Okay, perfect. Now let me save this, and now let's create a new file which is going to be the CSS file. And remember, you have to save the CSS file just where right where you have the test.html. So let's start by putting here, let's say, the section. Okay, let's style the section first, which is basically this part here. This is the section. Okay, let's style that. The first thing I want to do, and we just have to, it's not an ID or either a class, so we just have to type the name of it. Remember that when we have ID, we type with this symbol, or if it was a class, with the dot. Okay, but it is not either ID or class, so we just have to type section. And let me start by putting a border, 1 pixel solid black, and save it as, I'm going to save this in my desktop. Here is my test.html, so here I'm going to type CSS, and I'm going to call this style. And if you remember, we already made a link to a file, style.css, in our HTML file at the top here. See? Style.css. So it's all ready, and I typed a border here, and also I'm going to type, let me just check this. Let me just run this. Refresh. Okay, there it is. Now let me stretch this a little bit more. So let me type a width of, let's say, 500 pixels. Refresh. Okay, there it is. Okay, this is the section where we have the news. Now I want to center this in the middle. Let me center this. So we type margin. It's very, remember that we no longer can use the center property, so we have to type margin 0 pixels auto. This will center the whole thing, the whole section. Refresh, and there it is. Perfect. Now also I want to do now the same thing to the header section, to the nav, which these are the 3 listed names on the nav, and then we have the aside section, which is going to be here at the side, at the left side, and then the footer. But before we give properties to that, I wanna wrap it up, okay, all this, so we can center all the page or all the sections in one time, at the same time, sorry. So let me just go here, and here let's type the ID wrapper, and here let's give it a border as well. I usually do borders for every section when I'm starting a web page, because that's a good way for you to see what's the width of each section and the height, and you'll control better the design of the sections of your web page with all the borders. Okay, normally I put a black border, but you can use some other colors if you want to. Okay, black. Okay, so wrapper, and what I'm going to do here is width, and width is going to be 900 pixels, and height 700 pixels. Okay, let's see how the thing is going. Okay, perfect. Okay, it's too big. It's a little bit too big. So let me type here 700 pixels. Refresh. Okay, perfect. I have to center margin 0 pixels. Auto. Okay. Refresh. Okay, perfect. Okay, as you see now, we have all the sections inside the centered wrapper. Okay, now let's give properties to the header, the nav, and the A side. And the A side is going to be the next one. So let's go here. Let's go A side, and here let me just check. Here is border 1 pixel solid black, and let me give a width of 100 pixels, width of 100 pixels, and a height of 400 pixels. Let me check now. Refresh, and okay, here it is, but I have to push it a little bit more to the top. So I'm gonna, to do that, we just have to type margin top, and let's type 360 pixels. Refresh. No, something. Oops, sorry. Okay, let's go back. Okay, perfect. Okay, a little bit more down, so 350. 40. Okay, perfect. So now we have this is the A side section, okay, and this is the main section here in the middle where we have all the news. Now we have all the sections separated, and let's give now some properties to the header section. So now with the header section we're going to have a problem because we used headers here inside the article. Okay, so we have to give ID to the header like this. Header ID equals, let's give it an ID of first. Okay, so we can still use IDs in these predefined sections or tags from HTML5. So now we type first. Perfect. And here we're going to type, as always, border 1 pixel solid 0, 0, 0. If we didn't use the ID, I'm going to show you. If I type here header and now border, and now, for example, let's say height 90 pixels, you'll see that it will take effect not only in the header at the top, this one here, but also the headers inside the articles. Okay, and you'll see that just in a second. Refresh. You see, it came down all the section in the middle, and it's all very confusing. I've gave a height, so a height takes place also here in the header here, and I don't want that. I want that to be applied only to this header here. Okay, you'll see the difference. I'm going to take this out and apply this with the ID first. Okay, see, a lot different. Okay, let's take care now of the nav here. Now the nav, let's type here nav. Also the border 1 pixel solid black, and let's give it a margin 0 pixels auto, and width, let's give it a width of 350 pixels. Okay, let's see how that is showing. Okay, perfect. Now I want this to be in line, okay, not one top of another. To do that, if you remember, I just have to type nav li, and here type display inline. Okay, and let's give it a padding of 20 pixels. Let's refresh, and there it is. Okay, for now these are not links, but you can do that if you want to, as well as putting more properties and things, but I'm gonna leave it this way. This is just for you to see how we can use pretty much the same CSS for the sections in HTML5. It's pretty much the same thing, as well as we can use IDs for the sections. Now the footer, let me just type here below. The footer will have pretty much the same problem as the header, because we're using footers in here inside the articles. So I'm gonna give the footer down here an ID of second. Okay, so here it's going to be ID second, and let's give it a border as always. Gonna copy this border, and also a height of 40 pixels. Okay, now let me check. Okay, and there's the footer section, and that's pretty much it. We can also divide the news here, because as you remember, this is divided by article. We have one article, sorry, we have one article here and another article here. So I'm going to give here article, and here I'm going to type, let's say, border. Okay, save this, and let's give it a width as well, 390. Let's check it, refresh. Okay, there it is. This A side came a little down, you can push a little up. Okay, that's it. This is how we can change and or give properties to the sections in HTML5. It's pretty much the same thing as HTML or XHTML, sorry. So that's pretty much it. We'll learn some more stuff in the next video. If you have any questions, just post on the comment section below or send me an email. Okay, see you guys. Bye. Hello guys, welcome to my 5th video tutorial on HTML5, and in this video I'm going to talk a little bit about attribute selectors and what they are and what they do. So the first thing I want you guys to do is inside the body, let's clean this up. We will not need this anymore, and let's leave it this way. Clean all whatever is inside the body, and let's save this, and let's create 3 paragraphs. PP and P, and let's type something like, hi, my name is Victor, I like Ferraris, and my favorite sport is MotoGP. Okay, you can type whatever you want basically in these 3 paragraphs. Now I'm going to show you how we will gonna start doing some CSS3. Okay, CSS3 is basically the new version of CSS, and it basically has the same things or that CSS had. So what I mean by this is you can still use the same, pretty much the same things you used in CSS in CSS3, but I'm going to show you the new things on CSS3, like the attribute selectors. Okay, I'm going to show you just in a second. So let's create a new file. Let's call this the style here. Let's call this new file style.css. Let's type first P, and let's type here, let's type font font size 20 pixels, and let's save this as style.css. Okay, make sure you have you already know the style.css in the same directory as the test.html. I have my 2 files here, as you can see. And okay, in CSS, remember that, for example, in this case we have 3 paragraphs, and if I use this in the CSS P and then font size 20 pixels, every single paragraph will turn into font size 20 pixels. So the 3 paragraphs will turn, let's see the result, as you can see, okay, here. The 3 paragraphs now have font 20 pixels. Now if I wanted to put one of them just one of them in 20 pixels, I would have to use, for example, ID equals this, or a class. Okay, let's use the ID, save. Now this would be, for example, ID this, save. Okay, and if I go here and refresh, there it is. Only the first one turns into or has 20 pixels font size. Okay, now in CSS3 you can use, for example, here you can use the attribute selectors, which is basically you have to type after the P, you have to type the square brackets, and inside the square brackets we use the attribute that we have in the or we want to affect in each paragraph. Okay, so let me just make you a good example. For example, here let's type name. Okay, save this, and here let's put here as well, let's type here ID second, and here we can type ID third. Now what will happen is whatever paragraph that has the attribute name, which is this one, okay, not the result, not the name of the attribute itself, okay, the attribute, whatever is in red in here, the attribute name, whatever has the attribute name, okay, here, name, it will turn into, let's put a little bit more, let's put 30 pixels. It will turn into 30 pixels. Okay, so this is a new feature on CSS3. We can put these square brackets and put the attribute here, so whatever paragraph has the name as an attribute will be affected. Okay, now let's see if this works. Let's run this in Chrome, and there it is. Perfect. Okay, so it's pretty much an additional option to affect whatever section of our web page, okay, or whatever sentence or div or anything else in our web page. Okay, we can also do, besides this, we can also do, for example, let's say I have here name, and if I go here and see the browser, the three are affected because it affects, as I said, the attribute. Whatever has the attribute name will be affected. Okay, but I can type here, for example, equal, and here type this, and guess what? The affected row will be this one here. Okay, let's check it out. Perfect. If I want to change this and be in effect only this one, pretty easy. Just type here the second. Okay, refresh, and there it is. Okay, so as you can see, this is the new cool feature in CSS3, additional feature to select or to give properties in CSS to more specific sections of our web page. Okay, guys, so this is what is attribute selectors. This is what is called attribute selectors. So see you in the next video. We will learn a little bit more, and if you have any questions, just send me a message or post your comments in the section below. Okay, bye. Hello guys, welcome to my 6th video tutorial on HTML5, and we will continue with more some new stuff from HTML5 and CSS3. Now, in this video I'm going to show you some new things you can do in CSS3. Now the first thing I want you guys to do, let's clean this up and let's save this. And we can take this out as well. Here. Now, here, let's create a new div, ID, and let's call this parent. Let's close div. And here, let's type P class equals, let's call this child, or instead of child let's call this a kid. Now let's grab this, copy, and paste it like this. Okay, so in some other programming languages, as you probably already know, we call, in this case, we call the paragraphs the child nodes. Okay, and the child nodes have a parent. In this case, I typed and give the name parent as well to the ID, or sorry, to the first div. So this first div is the parent, and we call this the child nodes, which are 4. Okay. Also, we can call the body grandparent. Okay. Now, these child nodes, I'm going to type here some things. Let's say I like CSS3. I like HTML5. I like PHP. I like JavaScript. Okay. Let me just check this and run it. And okay, here it is. We have here the 4 paragraphs. Now I'm going to show you a cool thing you can do with CSS3, which is basically this little thing here. We type P and then the nth child, parenthesis, and curly bracket, curly braces, and here you can type color, let's say red. Okay. Now in the parenthesis, when I type here P and this nth child means all the childs, which are the P, the paragraphs, and I did this wrong here. It's P, closing P, not closing div. Save it. What this do is, for example, let me give you an example and type, for example, a 2 here. Let's save this. Now, if I run this in Chrome, oops, not this one here, sorry. If I run this in Chrome, this is the result. The result is whatever child as a paragraph number 2 was, so the number 2 paragraph applies the color red. it will be applied the color red to whatever child number 2. Okay, as you can see, as you saw, that it works perfectly. Now let's say I want number 1. Number 1. Okay, now this is pretty much a simple thing you can do, but I did this just for you to see that you can, between the parentheses, you can do a lot of stuff and a lot of formulas, complex formulas, to choose the childs, okay, and apply the properties you want to whatever child you want. Let's say let's choose only the odd childs, okay, and see what happens. If I click refresh, only the odd childs paragraphs will be at red. Okay, I can also repeat this, and here instead of odd, type even, refresh, and let's change the color to green. And you'll get a pretty cool effect on all the odds and even paragraphs. Okay, let's say you have a bunch of a lot of lines or videos or pictures or something you're selling, and you want odds and evens to have different to create a better visual effect, to have different evens and odds have different colors, okay, or sizes. So you can choose this formula to do that. Okay, now you can still use a lot of different formulas, say from 3 and 3 from 3 to 3 paragraphs, you choose a different color, or some other formulas you have a lot of formulas, and I'm gonna post in the comment section later on. I'm gonna post a resource or some a website where you can see and create those formulas. We'll help you to create those formulas. Okay, but now this is a good example for those or for these samples that I wanted to show you. Now I want to show you also a different thing. Let's take the div parent out, and here instead of class, let's type, for example, let's turn back and type the name and name. Now I'm going to show you how you can use regular expressions. I'm not sure if you guys already know what regular expressions are from PHP, but probably some of you already know what they are, and you can use them in CSS3 now as well. Let's say kiddos, new kid, hi kiddos, and kidding. Let's save this. Let's go here, and let's take this one out, and in here let's type P, and here let's type here name equals, and here let's type kid. Now just before the equal sign, you type this symbol right here. Okay, what this symbol does is, remember in the last video that I told you that between these square brackets, this is the attribute selectors, the color red in this case will be affected only to the name kid. In this case we don't have any name kid, but this symbol here, okay, is a regular expression, and what it says is whatever name, attribute name kid, that has the kid at the beginning of the sentence or the word, please apply the color red. What I mean by this is, for example, in this case, kid as a first word only applies to this one here, which is this kid is the first in this word, kiddos. So you see kid is here and in here as well. So it will apply this one and this one. Let's see if it works. Let's run this. And sorry, something is wrong. Let me just check. Of course, this dot is, we have to take this dot out. Okay, let's save this. Let's run this in Chrome. Oops, sorry. This one in Chrome, and there it is. Okay. The first and the last one, which are the one that has kid at the beginning of the word, okay, so every single attribute name which has the kid as the beginning of the word will be affected. Now we can also use another regular expression, which is dollar symbol, which means at the end of the word. So if kid is at the end of the word, in this case is in here, and that's it. That will be affected. As you can see, there it is. And at last, the other that you can use is this one here, and this means that whatever paragraph that has attribute name and the kid is in whatever place of the word, either at the beginning of the word, at the end of the word, or in the middle, please apply the color red. And basically are all of them, kid here, and kid here, not this one. Okay, the three. Let's run this. Well, all of them. Okay, perfect. So as you can see, these are the regular expressions. I think there are more regular expressions that you can use, but these are the most important ones. Okay, so that's basically it. If you have any questions, just post the questions in the comment section below or send me a message. Okay, bye.